Greetings, peace be with you. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things that you must avoid while on semen retention, because semen retention is a path towards self-improvement, right? Towards growing yourself, towards getting better. But if you are still engaged in these 5 things, which I was for a long time, even after being engaged in semen retention, then your results, your room for improvement, your ability to show up with your most capable self, right? That's going to be seriously hindered, right? So that's what we're going to be discussing and diving into in this video, right? So the first thing that you must avoid while on semen retention is that of eating too much, okay? This is something that I experienced after I got started down this path of the practice of retaining my life force energy. It was like I was doing that, but then I would feel the temptation to go and reach for that sugar. I would feel the temptation to go binge on a bunch of food, and I would be full. I'm not hungry, but I'm continuing to eat. I'm done. I don't want to eat anymore, but I'm still eating. Whoa, birds are going crazy. And I'm still eating to the point where I'm bloated, toward the point where I'm in a food coma, to the point where I'm lying on the floor, just having eaten too much. And the more I reflected on that, the more I gained an awareness on why I was doing that. It was actually a distraction, right? We're either in traction or we are in distraction. When we are on our path, when we are on our purpose, when we are moving towards the destiny that we seek to create, then we are in traction. And anything else that holds us back from moving towards that direction, anything else that holds us back from doing the things which we already know are in our best interest, becomes a distraction, okay? And food is something that I've continued to work on, okay? Not only on the philosophy around it, but on the emotional relationship that I have with food, right? And that's something I think we all have to go on our own journeys on, because a lot of the times I noticed in myself is that I was eating not because I was hungry, but to address an emotional gap, right? And anytime that we try to address that emotional gap from something outside of us, that gap just gets bigger and bigger and wider, right? That gap has to be filled from the inside out. And like I said, semen retention is an amazing practice, and I definitely believe that it is something that every man must engage in order to express what he is truly capable of. But if that's the only thing that you're doing, and if you're continuing to engage in the rest of these habits which I'm going to be sharing with you, then like I said, your results will be significantly hindered, right? Now, the second thing to avoid on semen retention is mindless scrolling on social media, right? When was the last time that you were scrolling on social media without a purpose, without an intention, with the mindless activity of just seeking that dopamine spike, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just like replacing one toxic habit with another, right? You're like, okay, I'm not doing semen retention anymore, and all I can think about is this thing, so I just want to go and scroll on social media to distract myself, right? And this is something which the social media giants are completely aware of, right? They play off of our cognitive biases of random rewards, right? It's a slot machine, because you get that dopamine fix, and social approval, right? Because, oh, someone liked my stuff, someone commented on my stuff, someone sent me a notification, right? Because at the end of the day, when we are engaged in this habit is when we are distracted, right? If you are doing research, if you are looking and modeling on what other people are doing on social media so that you can use that for yourself, if you're studying competitors, then you're doing that with an intention. But really, throughout this whole video, it's like, why do we do what we do? Are we doing it with consciousness, or are we doing it because we have been programmed? Are we doing it because our reward center is seeking the cheap thrill of the dopamine spike, and that's being reinforced again and again and again, right? So like the overarching theme of it, just get an awareness, right? Keep an awareness of what you are doing and why you are doing it, right? Because two people can be doing the same thing, but if the intention is different, then the energy is completely different as well, right? So maintain an awareness on that. Okay, the one thing I'd recommend is that on your desktop, you can get News Feed Eradicator on your Facebook feed. And that's actually where I actually run a lot of ads. So it's actually hurting me because I want more people to see my ads. But if you get Newsfeed Eradicator, then it's going to eliminate your newsfeed and you won't be mindlessly scrolling. I know it's a habit. I know that's been ingrained. I definitely find myself in that loop as well from time to time. But it's all about increasing the awareness so that we can be on traction rather than distraction, right? Now, the third thing that you should avoid on semen retention is, again, television. All right, now again, If you're doing it with awareness, if you're doing it with consciousness, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. I'm here to offer you the perspective of gaining awareness, right? Mindlessness is what we have to avoid, because anytime we do something without knowing why we're doing it, then we're actually serving a purpose that is not our own, right? We are serving a purpose that has been fed to us. We are serving an agenda that is outside of us, right? Anytime we do something which is not serving us, it's because we have been hacked, right? Dopamine is the hormone which moves us towards pleasure and away from pain. And when we are mindlessly watching TV to fill the void, right? Oh, I don't want to deal with how I feel right now, so I'm going to put on some TV. We've all been there, right? I'm going to escape myself. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to smoke that. I'm going to swallow this, right? But if we can learn to really sit with ourselves and get an awareness on why we feel the way that we do, why we do what we do, right? Always purifying our intention about why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, you're watching TV, you're doing it to get the edge off, you've had a rough week at work, you've got a very productive past for a couple of days, and you need to get the edge off. I don't know what that means, but get the edge off, right? Well, I'm just getting the edge off right now. Then do it, but by all means, right? Always be aware of why you're doing it, right? Because if you're just scrolling, flipping the channels, it's like, what are you distracting yourself from? You're distracting yourself from what you are here for, right? Remember, we're always in traction or we are in distraction, right? So when we're in traction, we are doing the things that we know are moving us towards our goals. When we're in distraction is when we are being hacked, right? So the fourth thing you must avoid on semen retention is, no surprise over here, Prana Graphi, right? Because I remember when I got started on this journey, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna fap, I'm not gonna bust my nuts, I'm just gonna watch these pixels. So gonna watch these pixels, get excited, feel the blood rush, and just do that. And I'll do that for a while, and then just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it for this one last time, right? So it goes without saying, we already know. Okay, check out this video over here. All right, check out this video on the dangers of Prana Graphi. That is sucking away your life force energy, that is sucking away your ability to show up as the creator of your reality, that is making you a victim. Okay, I made a bunch of videos on this, but it goes without saying, okay, like if you are just like, okay, I'm not busting nuts, but I'm just watching it, just know that you'll be tempted to do it. I'm speaking from personal experience, so just avoid this altogether. It just has a lot of damages on the brain. Okay, it destroys your brain, destroys the social centers of your brain, it destroys your reward system, and it's like you get that instant dopamine spike, but you trade your future away. Okay, so it's always a choice that you're making, instant gratification or the long-term gains, right? Sweet on the mouth, bitter in the belly. That's what it is, right? Like there's a delayed effect from cause and effect, right? You do something right now, you're like, well, I'm still good, I just busted a nut, doesn't really matter. But what does that look like a week from now? What does that look like a month from now, right? The more we can actually increase our awareness of cause and effect that are distanced over time, right? You have a drink, it's all good. It's just one day, it's just the weekend. But what about the week begins? You're sleep deprived, you can't show up for your work, you're missing out on opportunities, that compounds over time. So very important to always keep that awareness. Now, the fifth thing you should avoid on semen retention, this is something I've dealt with myself, I continue to deal with, is not judging others for not being on this journey, okay? I remember sharing this with all my friends. I'm like, you gotta do this, you gotta stop, you gotta show up as your most capable self, come on, you can do it. But at the end of the day, it's like people come to this information when they're ready for it, right? When people are ready to let go of their previous baggage, when they're ready to let go of destructive habits, that is when they will do it, right? I remember I'm like, oh, this guy, like, screw him, he's not living up to the ideals that I've set for myself, and therefore I'm gonna judge him, right? Like, judgment, at the end of the day, all forms of judgment are a form of self-judgment, because we are all each other living different lives, right? The same consciousness, having different experiences, and what I do onto another is what I do onto some aspect of myself, right? So self-judgment is judgment, judgment is self-judgment, and the more that we can actually shift from just judgment into observation, right? Why does he do what we do? Shift from judgment to empathy to compassion, the more we can actually develop compassion and empathy for those sides of ourselves as well, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is the path of perpetual growth, of improvement, of knowing that when we invest in our growth, everything in our life grows, right? And semen retention is a means towards that as well, because it increases our creative energy. Okay, so with that, I hope you got value from this video. This has been Mo here. Leave a comment below letting me know your number one takeaway. Press the like button if you liked it. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.